Gwinnett County Sheriff's Office.
Hello, is Mr. Sheriff in?
Yeah, may I ask who's calling?
It's Rex.
1 second.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going, boss?
Good, you?
Pretty well. I've got a couple of concerns and questions real quick for you. I have to call you about a Form 4 denial for fingerprints for a Sheldon Dukes for a suppressor.
Okay.
He was denied under some fingerprints for Samantha Dukes, and I'm seeing some discrepancies on the disposition reports submitted from BCI on the back end, and I am just trying to get all this stuff cleared up and curious if you would be willing to reissue the correction form to the feds, to NICS for federal control number 202-521-68508, and I've got your reference number here as well.
Why don't you, do you have the paperwork that you have all this written down?
Yeah, I've got it right here. It's the permit control number for the federal background check disapproval for the ATF Form 4 is 202. If you got,
I don't want that. I want the paper.
the paper what, sir?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a ATF E form. So somebody with a fingerprint, you issued a correction for Sheldon Dukes last year,
Okay.
and the fingerprints.
Hold on just a second. Who am I talking to? I'm sorry.
This is Rex Sue Urias,
Who's that? I'm not sure who you are.
Private Attorney General.
I'm sorry?
A private attorney general?
Attorney General?
Yeah.
Okay. You work for Attorney General's office?
No, sir. A private attorney general. I work directly under the people. Federal oversight. Federal trust beneficiaries.
Well, send me the paperwork and I'll look at it before I do anything.
Well, that's the thing, sir, is it's a ATF E form, so the permit and control and your reference number is right here. I've got it all. I'm just trying to give it to you right now. It's 202-521-68508.
Well, unless I have something in my hand, I want to read it. I'm just not going off of the numbers.
Well, yeah, that's how that kind of works, boss. You can pull the numbers on your computer, or I can email you the ATF E forms, but you've got to get a hold of the ATF and NICS to be able to submit the correction properly. It was submitted to the state, but there was no correction submitted to the feds.
Well, I submitted it to the state, and that's all I have to do. I made the corrections for him.
Right.
I did that. Well, then that's up to the state from there. That's not me. I did my part.
Somewhat. The contributing agency has actually got to be the primary initiator. So BCI right now, with what you sent over, they don't have a clear reason. They've just told me that it was because of a fingerprinting error. I'm not sure what that means or how that is applicable for what happened, but I mean, I'm sure that you guys have some sort of reason for what happened.
Who did you talk to at the BCI?
It was Zahid Sadiki.
Heed?
Zahid. Z-A-H. Zahid
Okay.
Sadiki. And his bar number is 006-835-3. And he said that he just needed a proper request from the law enforcement agency that actually issued the fingerprints. And what I'm concerned with in this particular instance is the fact that the fingerprints that are actually showing up for the prohibited charge are that of another individual, Samantha Dukes, and not Mr. Dukes, for the crime that he was allegedly convicted of. So I'm just curious if under at any point was Samantha charged with this firearm in 2019, or was this a mistake, or what happened?
Yeah, Okay. Let me look into it. And is your number 740-513-6788?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Okay. Let me look into it, see what BCI is doing, and I'll get back with you, okay?
Well, I just was curious on some quick clarification. Could you confirm or deny whether Samantha was arrested at all ever?
I'm going to have to look up. I wasn't even here in 2019. I'm going to have to look up that stuff up.
Gotcha. Because I've just seen some quite extensive public records requests and documentation from the defendant. So at this point, you should be clearly aware whether this woman was ever in custody or not. She was pregnant, allegedly.
Okay. Yeah, let me look into it.
And the fingerprints are fraudulent. And I literally have the DSR form numbers from October 4th after the trial. So that's a post-document alteration under Superintendent Rule 44. So what I'm curious on, number one, is this gun. Where is the gun? Who has the gun?
Who arrested him?
That's what I'm curious too. Because
Just the Upper Sandusky Police Department?
Well, on paper, it says Cary PD. There's a warrant from, like, I have no idea how many years ago, like literally a warrant from 2017. And then when I go to the municipal courthouse and look those documents up, it seems as if there's open cases over there as well that quite literally show a pattern of double charging and fraud under the sheriff's department. I see a double charge on October 10th from a Dwight Kramer for a defective exhaust / misconduct at an emergency scene. And that is directly under your department. And I was just, I'm kind of just honestly concerned on oversight. Like, do you guys have any sort of actual training facilities or what's going on?
So what had you said gun? So we went from a exhaust and the other charge to where the gun's at.
Right, because on paper I'm seeing like 7 different charges, 9 or 10 different stops, 3 different arrests, and literal terminations of officers, resignations. One officer from Cary, Ohio, legitimately I have his arrest record here. I don't understand how this got this far to where you literally submitted a correction form without even looking into this. This is kind of blowing my mind.
I think at the time, as far as what I did, is we had the sheriff's office had another vendor doing our fingerprint programs.
Right.
And I think the program submitted that wrong.
Like from inception?
No, from just the program itself. I think it came up.
Like when his fingerprints were taken, not afterwards, right? Like it wasn't intentional. It was something that was done on accident from the, like at the computer level while the fingerprints were taken.
Yes, the program that the sheriff's office had at the time, when they did the fingerprints, it had a different charge.
Okay.
Once that was brought to my attention years later, many years later, I corrected that. We have a new system.
Now, I do have an honest question for you here because just the detective in me just follows this out, you know, and the only truth that I see there is if that's the case, and confirm or deny whether this is illogical or not, but if it happened at the beginning, wouldn't the newspaper clippings for the charges that were read at the trial be correct? And I don't understand how that gets missed from an indictment to an arraignment, to multiple pretrials, to a trial, and then a post-trial execution. Because to be completely honest with what I'm seeing from the DSR forms themselves, like the actual fingerprint forms from the courthouse, nothing that you guys have ever even seen, because those don't get transferred to the sheriff's department. But I literally just got off the phone with the clerk of courts, and the tone in her voice kind of makes me want you to go upstairs and ask her a couple questions and get to the bottom of this before this has to go to the next level. Because quite legitimately, I'm under the impression that they knowingly and intentionally sent over a fraudulent disposition report to the state, got paid twice for one gun and one car at one time on February 5th, 2019. Because I see 2 vouchers, 2 disbursement documents, 2 payment trails, started one February 6th and one October 4th That's where it concerns me, is how is the state attempting to get paid and arrest another woman after they claim that she was innocent at the jury trial? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's fraud. That's intentional misrepresentation to a jury. Either the jury is not in good standing or the prosecutor arrested this woman under the color of law and kidnapping post-trial. Like, there really is no getting around that, sir. So I just need to know how we're going to take integrity and fix this matter before it gets, like, really bad and this turns into a constitutional explosion.
I did my part. I fixed the charge. I sent it to BCI. That's my extent of it.
So did you do any investigation into the wrongdoing? And what about the actual perpetration of fraud right now? Because the case is open with a guilty plea admitted by a Samantha Dukes under the record, and it hasn't been ruled on since December 6th, 2024. So we're at nearly 6 months right now with no ruling by a judge. The judge that is sitting in the court right now has committed fraud and is either, one, going to work with you and take accountability, and you guys can just fix this the proper way as the county oversight. I mean, you're literally the highest law enforcement officer in the county. That's why I'm on the phone with you right now, is because you have an opportunity to literally fix this without any more oversight, without any involvement from the feds. These federal control numbers that I'm attempting to give you right now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This kid literally just wants this corrected. And I have full signed affidavits of release of liability if this is able to be corrected. But I also have affidavits of damages and Supreme Court filings that say that while you submitted this correction, there was active litigation at the Supreme Court, which is post-litigation tampering of records without some sort of notice to the court. And at this point, BCI is legitimately involved. I mean, we're either going to fix this at the local level, like a proper government, or we're going to take this to RICO and we're going to have some fun.
Well, my final stance is I submitted the corrections, and that's the final where I've gone.
So my curious, I have just one more question real quick. So is he prohibited? Or is she prohibited?
I'm not getting into all that stuff. I just made the corrections. I don't know where everything is at with it. I did my part, and I'm done with it.
Well, the issue is that I'm concerned that there's a tape at your department of him attempting to turn himself in. And I know you say you're a videotape of Sheldon attempting to turn himself in. I haven't been able to confirm this yet, but with these, a felon in possession of a firearm, he came in, I guess, and asked if he was prohibited.
We have no warrants for him.
Right, but if somebody is actively in possession of a firearm and you're either claiming that he's a felon and you don't need to fix the record, or you're claiming that the record's fraudulent and that you've already fixed it and you're not giving a clear stance. So is he prohibited?
I made the correction to BCI, and that's as far as I'm going, okay?
So,
with all due respect, if you want anything else, you'll have to get a hold of the other people that's involved with what you're trying to get done.
Well, the next person that's going to get involved is the coroner to come arrest you.
Okay, well, you have to do what you have to do, but I made the corrections, and that's in BCI's hand right now.
So are you denying to take any further action, and you would prefer to get arrested by the coroner?
I've done as far as I'm going.
Silence is acquiescence, sir. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I'd like to remind you of that clearly. So I'm asking if you would start an investigation with BCI or whether we're going to go the hard route.
No, you do what you got to do, but
if you hang up on this, then you've made your plan very clear that you shall be arrested, sir.
There's nothing else I can tell you.
No, what you're saying is that you're forfeiting your position as a law enforcement officer by not doing your duty under the Constitution. And if you're doing this on record, on a recorded line, then I'm sorry, but the full weight of the law shall come down upon you.
You have a good day, sir. Thank you.
Acquiesced. Taken.